Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Today is International Day of the Girl Child. Today is the National Day of Facing Your Fear. I'm presuming national here means in America. And today is also National Day of Coming Out. If we reflect on the celebrations today, this very much relates to ahimsa. Himsa means to harm. Ahimsa, non-harming. Whatever we identify with, we tend to harm less. Yesterday in our parenting culture space, I had shared those who identify with animals, they tend to be vegetarians. If we identify with girls, if we identify with differences, we will not harm girls, those of a spectrum of sexualities. This is what we work on in Meaningful Mornings, is to identify with creation. Not to be attached to creation, that leads to harm, but rather to identify with. Sri Krishna has many names, thousands, millions. One of his best names is Manohara. Manohara means the one who steals minds. Has he stolen your mind? You know we're approaching almost day 600 of Bhagavad Gita. If he hasn't stolen it yet, you fill in the blank. The one who steals minds. For us in a practical sense, what steals our mind? The greatest. That which is the greatest captivates us. That's why we like the Guinness World Book of Records, correct? The greatest juggler, the greatest person who can eat that many slices of pizza in 10 minutes. We're captivated by this. And Sri Krishna knows this. That's why he's using this teaching technique in chapter 10. In the first couple of verses, he's trying to share with us, before I get into the diversity, and I will, try to establish this diversity is built on unity. Shared differently, more technically, infinity is before the individuality. Before you became a child, a sibling, etc., you are a seeker. You are infinity. And Shri Krishna also shares not just before, but after too. After the individuality, there is infinity. So if infinity is there in the beginning and in the end, the implication is that infinity is in the middle also. Bhagavad Gita is a contemplative map to absorb the individuality in infinity. In verse 2 particularly, Sri Krishna is identifying certain personalities like the devas and the rishis. He's prepping us. He's orienting us to what will happen later in the chapter, where he gets into much more detail about the forms and names of the devas, the rishis, nature, our lifestyle, and so on. Hammering what is going to happen in chapter 10 again. Shri Krishna knows our minds are in diversity, but he's trying to tune our minds into the unity that connects all of this diversity, the unity that supports this diversity. This continues in verse 3. Yo mam ajam anadim cha veti loka maheshwaram asammudasa martyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate. Before I explain the whole first line, everyone has heard the devil is in the details. You've heard that before in terms of legalese as an example. When one experiences a sacred field, please try to take that same notion, but feel it as divinity is in the details. Divinity. It is the clarity that Sri Krishna is encouraging that will lead to the conviction that you are more than your lifestyle, your body, your mind. Yaha, the seeker. Mam, that is me, Sri Krishna. The implication is the one who knows me. Knows me to be what? Ajam, birthless. Anadim, beginningless. Loka Maheshwaram, the facilitator of the world. That seeker that knows me, Veti, they have vrittis, thoughts on who I am. Not just Sri Krishna in a casual way. He has a flute, he wears a yellow lower cloth, but tuning into his gunas, his qualities. Elaborating on this, Aja means that which has no ja, meaning not born. Aja also means goat. Now, in our urban language, GOAT has become an acronym. Can you share with me what GOAT stands for? LeBron James, yes? GOAT is an acronym for greatest of all time. And see how beautifully that works. The greatest of all time is the infinite, obviously. So who is the GOAT? Sri Krishna. Anadi. Adi means to begin. Anadi, not having a beginning. This word is built with great love. That which has no beginning really means that which is beyond time. Yet Sri Krishna is using a word that is time related because he knows that's where our mind is. That's how we think. He's trying to describe the timeless with time. That shows a lot of love. And Loka Maheshwaram. Loka means our field of experience, not just the world. Your nightmare last night, that's a Loka. You dreaming about breakfast right now, that's a Loka. All of these fields of experience. What is in every one of these fields of experience? Awareness. Awareness is in your nightmare. Awareness is in your dream. Awareness is in the present. Awareness is in the past and future. Awareness is in animals and plants and stones. This is why in this world, he is the greatest, because he is awareness. It's important to reflect on these verses, correct? Otherwise, Loka Maheshwaram, he's this king sitting with his scepter and he's hitting people and say, do this and go there. I'm your king. It's much more personal. The second line, Martyeshu, those who are subject to Martya, Marana, which means those who are dying, those who will die. That's you, that's me, okay? In terms of personalization. We feel this way because of mudha. Mudha means the one who's confused about who they are. Sammudha, this confusion is not in a light way, like what to eat or what career to take up. Sammudha means I don't know who I am. And because of that, I engage in papa. More extrovert, sarva papa. I think like this, I speak like this, I act like this. But now Shri Krishna is sharing, Yaha Veti, the one who knows me with clarity, they are Samudha. They are not very confused, they are very clear. Very clear about who I am, that I am in them, and they are in me, which means I'm not dying. I can't die. One is muchyate, means free, pramuchyate, free forever. Free forever from papa. Papa means being distant from yourself. The more distant you are from yourself, the more sad you are. The more close you are to yourself, the more happy you are. In our past Practices to Perfection class, this was the teaching from Acharya Shankara. To be free of papa, that is to be free of this notion that you are an individual. Pujaswami Chinmayananda writes this very beautifully in what you just read. I'm reading it again. Man is not punished for his sins, but he is punished by his sins. Sin is a self-insulting act arising of a misunderstanding in the sinner as to his own identity. The final reflection here is a mudha, one who is immature, takes their life and lifestyle for granted. The word ignorant means the one who ignores. They live in a most casual way with their opportunities, with their health, with their relationships, with the environment. To grow out of being a mudha, a sammudha, to be one who is clear, one has to go from being a casual liver, from casually knowing who you are and what to do, to being serious about this. That the most important thing to know, and we've already come across this in chapter 9, is to know who you are. To be serious about your dharma, your responsibilities. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to reflect on the support that the indigenous culture has offered you. Not your parents or grandparents, but you. And many of you reflected on this on our website. I appreciate that. My reflection on this is the indigenous culture, at least here in Canada and America, is almost like existence. Before I was here, the indigenous was here, correct? The same for you and your parents and your grandparents. In Niagara Falls, I'm part of the group that trains the police officers, in my case, in Hinduism. And so I have regular meetings with the Niagara Regional Police Service. And before these meetings, the chief of the police reads a land acknowledgement. Before Vivek speaks, before anyone else gets into any agenda items, this is what he reads. The Niagara region is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattiwandarok, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The regional municipality of Niagara stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. That is a powerful practice. We should find out about the land acknowledgement of where we live. This is for Niagara. You should find out about your own land acknowledgement. And maybe that will be your application. I had a different one, but that will be your application. You research the land acknowledgement for where you live. And tomorrow, as I join, please share that in the chat. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.